When I saw Artemis on TikTok, the name, I was like, what the fuck is that? Artemis. I looked it up. It's like a Greek goddess of the moon or something.
So there is two meanings behind the name.
Okay.
One is like...
So you're not the goddess of the moon?
No.
Okay.
I'm a goddess.
Okay, fair.
But there you go. So in Greek she's a Greek goddess of hunting, actually.
Of hunting, right?
Yeah.
I
don't
saw
know
there
if
was
the
a
moon
couple.
was also there. I
There was a
heard
couple,
she's
yeah.
also goddess of virginity and a lot of stuff she's involved in.
Yeah.
But in Farsi, basically in Persian, actually, even though she's actually a real person, it's not a god or anything.
Oh, okay.
She was the first woman commander of the Navy of Iran back when the king of Iran was still in power.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, I mean, you can technically say that she is still that because there was nobody after her as a woman who was in that kind of power in Iran. So yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VoV podcast, Voices of Vic. Today, episode 40. I'm here with Artemis Sadeghi. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
cool.
Good. Trust me.
Almost. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Episode 40. It's a milestone episode. Every 10 episodes, we try to make it like super cool, interesting.
Yeah.
Like we try to do that every episode, but you know, these are especially important for the milestones. So,
Okay.
Happy to have you on. You're the founder of a pretty cool club at UofT.
Yes.
What is that?
Well,
What is that called?
co-founder.
Co-founder.
Technically. Yes.
With who?
With Surana Nazemi.
Yep. Shout out.
Yes. Oh my God. He's amazing.
Yep.
We're co-founders of Not Just Tourist at UofT. Obviously, Not Just Tourist is almost right now we can say a worldwide organization, I believe.
Awesome.
I started volunteering with them when I was in high school. So what they do is that they get medical supply donations from hospitals, from clinics, because they get so much inventory a lot of times, and then they just throw out or they just don't use the older inventory even though it's not expired or anything. So they just, instead of all of those going to waste, they donate it to us. We pack it into suitcases that are also donated to us by people.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful people, honestly. And we send it abroad to clinics, hospitals, places that they really need those. And that way it won't go to waste.
That's awesome.
And we'll make an impact. And also basically we have volunteers who take those suitcases, right? So it's kind of like all nonprofit.
That's cool. That's really cool. We'll get into talking about more, charities and stuff. And I think that a lot of charities nowadays, like you can find out some sketchy stuff about them.
Yes.
But just from meeting you and just from seeing the Instagram and seeing kind of the work you guys do, you guys seem like you're very honest and no, the work's awesome. But before we get too much deeper into that, I want to ask more about you. When I saw Artemis on TikTok, the name, I was like, what the fuck is that? Artemis. I looked it up. It's like a Greek goddess of the moon or something.
So there is two meanings behind the name.
Okay.
One is like...
So you're not the goddess of the moon?
No.
Okay.
I'm a goddess.
Okay, fair.
But there you go. So in Greek she's a Greek goddess of hunting, actually.
Of hunting, right?
Yeah.
I
don't know
saw
if
there was
the
a
moon
couple.
was also there. I
There was a
heard
couple,
she's
yeah.
also goddess of virginity and a lot of stuff she's involved in.
Yeah.
But in Farsi, basically in Persian, actually, even though she's actually a real person, it's not a god or anything.
Oh, okay.
She was the first woman commander of the Navy of Iran back when the king of Iran was still in power.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, I mean, you can technically say that she is still that because there was nobody after her as a woman who was in that kind of power in Iran. So yeah.
And when was that? Like, what do you know around like what time we're talking about here?
The thing is that I'm not so like I know like events, but
Yeah.
I don't know dates.
Right, fair, fair.
Not good with dates.
Not a history student.
Definitely not interested in history because I believe that history always like repeats itself in a way or
Absolutely.
another. So I'm intrigued to know about all the events, but it's not so much of the date that I really care about.
All good, all good. I was just trying to
Yeah.
trip you up to start, get you on the edge.
You can search it up.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But no, that's true. History does definitely repeat. Some people say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And it's kind of scary to think that all the problems that the world has can just be avoided if everyone read about history and took lessons from the past. But unfortunately, that's not
the case.
That's not the
and
case.
also, that wouldn't be so cool, right?
I
If
guess
everybody
not.
knew what was going on.
An uneducated world is cooler.
That's
Boy,
such a corrupt way of thinking about it, too.
I mean, yeah, maybe as the head of, a charity or a foundation that tries to help people out, you're
Yeah.
like, nah, we don't want to teach history. Nah.
I mean, I think it should be for those who enjoy it, those who want to actually not repeat the same mistakes, those who
Yeah.
like to be like that. But I don't think everybody likes that whole idea of knowing actually what to do.
Interesting.
No?
Interesting. You're confusing the hell out of me right now, but fair. I think history is actually a huge way to sound super smart. Like, you ever been talking to someone, they're like, yeah, this reminds me of the battle of this in 1935. I'm like, what? How do you know this? The history, I just want to learn about World War II and then pull out a random battle in a conversation. People think I'm a genius. You know what I'm saying?
But that's only if you know,
You actually have to-
exactly what happened.
You actually have to
right?
learn about it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the work
That's
comes
what
in.
I'm saying. You have to actually be interested. But are you just doing that to impress someone in a conversation?
I mean, no, I am interested. Well, maybe the interest, I am so interested in impressing someone that I'll go learn it.
Oh,
Fair enough.
that sounds like rizzing.
Rizzing with World War II, maybe. You've had a very varied history in terms of location and living in different
Yeah.
places. You're from Iran.
Yes.
You're born there.
Yes.
Okay. When did you leave Iran? Do you still, does family live there still or no?
I do have family there.
Okay.
Yeah, but not like I have my parents here
Nice.
and me,
Yeah.
which is a blessing.
That's perfect.
Not everybody gets to have that. I understand.
Yeah.
But wherever I went with family
Yeah.
because that's the one rule like we have, either all of us or none of us.
That's good.
So, and I would say I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity for all of us, because I see a lot of people like the mom and the child can come, the dad's visa is not coming,
Yeah.
We were one of those situations, actually. It's funny because my dad could come, but we didn't have a visa yet.
Got
and
it.
my dad was like, I'm not going to go until yours also comes.
Awesome.
And if it doesn't, it's just meant to be like that, I guess.
Yeah.
We're not going.
That's good. No, family's meant to stick together.
Yeah. So from there, I believe it was grade 6 elementary school.
Okay.
I went to Cyprus, the Greek side. There's Turkish side and there's a Greek side
Okay.
to Cyprus. But it wasn't new to me. We had a house there beforehand, before going to live there, but it was like our vacation house.
Yeah.
And it was such a sudden decision. I think my mom was like, yeah, let's go. And then my dad was like, so you want me to leave everything? She's like, we need to get Artemis out of here.
What motivated that move?
What motivated that move was just my mom wanting me to have access to opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with it was that when I was super young, in like my own country, right, in school, you know how they sit every kid down and they go like, okay, everyone, let's talk about what you want to be in future.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when it came to me, this was like 2nd grade in elementary school. And then they asked me and I was like, I want to be president. And I remember they called my mom to school and they were like, ma'am, like, did you know your daughter wants to be a president? And my mom was like, okay, what's the problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they were like, but Iran doesn't have female presidents. And my mom was like, who says she wants to be president of Iran?
Right.
Right?
Good point.
And I think it was just things like that really led to her being like, I want her to have options.
Yeah.
As many as possible. And I don't want the fact that like because she's a female and all of those things to like tie her up or take away things from her. So yeah, we went to Cyprus. Already knew English because the one thing my dad really invested in was my English classes in Iran. She was like, I don't care about like academics. I'm never gonna get you a teacher for academics because you have to learn to study yourself.
Yeah.
But English, guitar, dance, all of those, I had a private teacher for.
There you go.
Yeah, like he was like, it's all about the talent.
Yep.
It's all about those things and the skills you need to learn.
Yeah.
So he was okay with blowing his money on that.
There you go. I mean, that's a good point. I was thinking the other day because I speak French, so I'm bilingual in that sense, but I was watching the French broadcast for the Montreal Canadiens, and I was just thinking of how lucky I was to have English as a first language, at least in 2024, because it's the language that kind of runs the world, right? It's the biggest economies, even countries that don't speak English primarily, the second language, if you're going to learn one, is going to be English. Is that the case in Iran? Like, do they teach English in the schools or no?
Technically, second language is Arabic.
Okay.
You get to learn Arabic because Iran is an Islamic country and you have to read Quran.
Right.
Right? And for that, they teach you Arabic.
Yeah.
And then English comes more like in like high school, I think. Well, I wasn't there to know, but I know it comes along. But it's so little emphasis on it.
And the language, the main language in Iran is Farsi?
Yes.
Okay.
But the thing is that in Iran, in kindergarten, when I went there, my teacher was English. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know any English.
Yeah.
So I was just like, like, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then, I was too young to understand. But afterwards, I realized my mom did that on purpose as well.
Got it.
To just get me to, like, speak in English. And one of the most important things for my dad was, like, the accent. Because I feel like he was so aggravated that he had an accent at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, a true English like speaker would, not have the accent. I mean, I still do, because then it got mixed. My accent got mixed with Greek.
Okay.
And then when I talk, if the person in front of me is Persian, they can say I'm Persian. But if they don't know anything about me, they sometimes say Russian, they sometimes say European.
Yeah.
It's a mix of things.
No, yeah. If you didn't tell me, if I didn't see Iran on the form before I started talking to you, I would not have guessed. Like, it's hard. It's a mix. You know what I mean? Like when you have someone, I talked to another guy, his name's Yashar, and Yashar's accent is all over the place too, because he's bounced around the world like you have. So there's a bit of British in there. There's a bit of Pakistani. Like the accents are
depends on
weird.
The words.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
Some words is just like, it's going to be very Persian, like accent on them, the emphasis.
Yeah.
But then some others, I don't know. Sometimes I have like, they say, oh, why are you talking in a British accent? I'm like, maybe because of the movies I watch.
Yeah, 100%. You hear that the athletes, there's a player on the New York Rangers hockey team. He learned his entire English. He's a Swedish player. All of his English from Friends, the TV show Friends.
Wow.
And you hear, I think that a lot of immigrants, you'll hear that too. So my dad would watch, what was it? I forget what it was called. It's one of these shows. It's like, do you know Maury? Maury, it's like a show where couples that are like going through a divorce or a breakup come to meet up. Or, no, it's not Maury.
Is this super old?
It's really old. Yeah. Maury's the newer version, but...
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no. But anyways, he'd watch this show of... I'm forgetting the name. It doesn't matter. But
you have to call Dad now.
Maybe, yeah, I know. Just call him up right now, ask what the show name is. But it's like where the woman is pregnant and they bring a man in on the show to see if he's the father of the kid or not. And they announce it.
Sounds like paternity.
Well, yeah, it kind of is. But they announce it like it's more dramatized, right? Like everyone's like, whoa. Like it's ridiculous. But so my dad would watch this show to learn English, I think. And he would call back to his brother in Mexico and say, these Canadians are crazy. Look at the kind of stuff they're putting on TV. But that was just that one show. I should double check with him. I don't want to misinform the audience on my family history, but yeah.
Family history.
How long did you stay in Cyprus for?
2-3 years.
2-3 years?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Canada.
And then Canada.
So then what motivated that move?
Me.
You.
That was me.
Okay.
I was seeing, so it takes a very long time for people to get a residency in Cyprus. It's like 7 years of being there full time.
Got
that
it.
will get you a resident. Like then you can apply.
Right.
I don't know if they have changed the rule. Not giving immigration advice here.
Yeah.
But it takes long. And I would see, so I went to a private school in Cyprus, which was American Academy of Larnaca. It was the top school in Cyprus. Cyprus is small by itself, but they were English speaking.
Yeah.
So when I went there, I would see most of the kids who will go there were families who had, I would say, more than the average person to pay like 6,000 euros a year for their child to have basically elementary school education, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so a lot of them would go to somewhere in Europe, actually. And majority of my friends that I talked to, they wanted England because I don't know there's an obsession definitely with England, like within the Cypriots.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like a lot of them like to go to England.
It's weird. I feel like England's kind of falling apart right now.
Well, they just like it. There's a part of Cyprus that it is English, like it's the land for England.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like they say, like if you like get a fine here, it's in pounds.
So
Yeah.
it's like this half Greek, this half Turkish, and then the tiny bit at the top.
There is well, not at the top.
It's at the bottom.
But it's not recognized on the map as an English land.
Oh, no?
No.
How big is Cyprus?
Have you seen it on the map?
No.
It's very small. It's
That's
an
probably
island.
why I haven't seen it.
It's an island.
That's probably why I haven't
It's
seen
an
it.
island near Greece and Lebanon and Turkey.
Got it.
Somewhere there.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. But beautiful.
Yeah.
I will always advise anyone who wants to go on a vacation to go to Cyprus in summer. There's no way you will have a bad time.
Have you
Unless
gone
you're-
back since?
Yeah.
You have. That's good.
You have to go.
Yeah.
It's fun. The people are calm, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, at least towards the tourists.
Yeah.
They're fun. And it's just a beautiful place. I mean, who doesn't want to be there?
That's good.
And then going back to our conversation. So I was seeing them wanting to go to England. I wasn't so interested in England at the time. Or maybe my heart wasn't there then. And my other options were like Czech Republic, Germany, France, Greece. And I really wanted to go to like America or Canada because I feel like when you're in Middle East, you're like if you make it to America, like you've made it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I've heard that same thing. One of my favorite businessmen is Patrick Bet-David. He's Iranian, and he said the same thing. He's like, once he got to Canada, I think he was like maybe close to the same to your age when you moved. He was like 12 maybe, and he was eating pineapple in the U.S. And he's like, because apparently in the 80s, pineapple was like only something that rich people had in Iran, right?
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about?
I like him.
He's awesome.
I love how he is raising his kids.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got 4 kids.
I truly believe the whole idea of what he talks about business and how he tries to teach and motivate his kids. I mean, respect.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely. He's an inspiration to me, and he sets high standards. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from him.
Really cool. Yeah, so he's right. Like, listen, it's a dream.
Yeah.
It's a dream.
They
to
call it
come
the
here.
American dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canada, America, and I got worried because we had friends who, like Persians, who applied after getting into like German schools for like medicine,
Yeah.
and their student visa got rejected because they were Persian. Well, we
By
can't say
Germany.
because they were
Right,
Persian,
right.
right?
Suspicions.
But it just got rejected. It's so much easier when you're European and like you don't need a visa, in fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it will be Schengen. I don't know what they call
Oh,
that.
right. Yeah.
Right?
Not the
so
EU.
you can just go anywhere. But then I freaked out. Even though I was nowhere close to university, I was like, Mom, what if I get there and like I end up going nowhere?
Yeah.
And I stay in Cyprus. I did not want to pursue, a graduate degree later on or have a career in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, take me out now.
Yeah.
Just take me.
You landed in this snowy mess.
Oh.
No snow in Cyprus? Or do they?
No.
Yeah.
Never. It never snows.
Yeah.
They love snow.
Yeah.
I guess because you don't get to see it. But they
100%.
have one mountain there that it snows. And everybody goes there.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just rain at most.
100%.
But yeah.
England, UK. It's a rainy mess over there. The one day of the year, my favorite snow day of the year, when I appreciate snow the most, is when the international students from Victoria College or from UofT, because you meet people here, you follow people on Instagram. All the international students on the first snowfall of the year will post a picture on their story. Holy shit, it snows. So like all their friends back in whatever it is, whether it's China or whether it's the Middle East, India, they see like, we're seeing snow for the first time. I'm like, that's wholesome as hell.
But for me, it wasn't like that.
No?
No, because in Iran, you have the snow, you have the rain.
There's snow in Iran?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
It snows.
I had no idea.
We have all the seasons in Iran.
Cool.
Depends on where in Iran you are, in fact.
Got it.
If you're more north, there's more rain. And then as you go south, it just gets hotter.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have everything. You have rainforest. You have your deserts.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why do most people think? Yeah, like I think that
because
there's
I
obviously
guess it's the Middle East and everybody's just like, it's hot.
It's
There's
hot,
no way it
desert,
snows.
sand. Yeah. It's probably a
No.
stereotype. In
People
that
go
way.
skiing, so there's definitely snow.
That's crazy.
And there's no such a fancy, at least as far as I know, there's no fancy, how in Dubai they have fake snow and
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not spending that kind of money.
That's fair. Yeah, Dubai's got a higher bar in that sense of fake ski mountains. But no, that's funny. If I keep looking at my watch, I'm sorry. I'm actually just tracking the batteries on these because they tend to die out like mid conversation, so I don't want it to mess up the flow. But you get to Canada. How old? You don't know. You don't. Sorry. You don't know dates. You said at the start. You said at the start. You said at the start. Why'd you come to UofT?
Grade 9. We
Grade
can
9.
say that.
14.
Grade 9, high school.
Yeah. Probably around 14. Are you 2003?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Probably 14.
Is that 14?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
Whatever you say.
Why'd you want to come to UofT?
Why UofT? I guess because they said #1 school in Canada.
Yep.
I didn't know it would be so hard.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a warning for that. I just read the Reddits.
Okay.
And I had a very high average during my whole high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's probably the people who are not studying hard enough,
Right.
I'm just,
I
just thought of myself as this person who is a different breed.
Yeah, fair.
And I was like, they say it goes down, but even if it goes down 10%, I will still be at because I had a 96.
Wow.
Average for my 4 years.
Insane.
And then I
All
was
4 years.
So altogether,
Yeah.
I had only 187 from French. That's it. That was my only AD.
Wow.
So I was a tryhard.
Yeah. I could tell. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what's the worst that can happen, right? It goes down by 10%. I will be at 85, 86.
Yeah.
That's pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come here, and I'm just like, they were right.
Yeah.
In the Reddit.
Yeah. Human
What
bio.
is this?
What's been the toughest course? I heard HMB 265 is.
You know, I haven't taken that.
Terrible.
I've dropped that course twice.
Oh, okay. Cool. Too much of a pain in the ass.
I think.
Is it not a requirement?
You know what I think about UofT?
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is their aim.
Let's hear this.
Because it's a very research focused
Yep.
school, because
Yep.
there's so much funding, in fact, that goes into research. I think they kind of make you fall into that
Yep.
pathway
Absolutely.
of continuing your studies, doing research, apply for grants,
Mm-hmm.
you know, basically bring the money here.
Yep.
And I want to go to grad school, like dental school, medical school. I would mostly say dental school. But I love all of those professions in its own way. And for someone who has my dreams, the fact that you have to know so much on a test, in my opinion, so much more than just what it's on the PowerPoint that it's being given to you.
Right.
So in depth that it takes your time, it takes your energy, right? And all of these schools are looking for also extra curriculums. And how are you involved outside of school? How are you involved inside of school other than your academics? And then it just your GPA just goes down.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's funny how they kind of, if you don't have that GPA, they're not even gonna look at you for the rest of it.
I talk about that a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
And it very much bothers me, because I do think that the system is not the way it should be. I don't think it's a fair system.
Yeah.
I don't think that all universities do grade the same way. We have a lot of students here that take courses in other universities just to see how it is, and they're UofT students, and they can see the difference in how they are being tested on an exam, on a test. And that's what it comes down to, because you have all the teachers who say, your grade doesn't matter that much, right? As long as you understand the material and you're passionate about what you're doing.
Liars.
But then you have the system that is assessing you with your grade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you tell me not to care if that's what you're going to look at? That's you're telling me something and basically you're going against yourself.
Yeah.
In other ways.
Hypocritical. We'll take a quick break, let
Yeah.
the cameras cool down, and then jump right back into it. Quick camera break. We're diving right back in. You're talking about the grades. And it's true how the professors will say, just don't stress about it. It's okay. Just do your best. You want to learn the material. And then they're right on the other side, research. You have to go down the stream. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
I very much am someone who likes certain things, doesn't like other things. I understand that I don't get to like every single course that I, for instance, have. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole idea of the grades just pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's just unfair. It's just unfair. And the thing is that what I hear when I hear they're like, oh, why don't you go to another university? They're less harsh. Have you been on Reddit?
I don't use Reddit a whole lot.
Everybody has a warning. A lot of people every single year come on Reddit.
Yeah.
And write, I got accepted here, in here, and here, and I want to go for instance, to medical school, which is my best option. And everybody goes avoid UofT.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they write it in all caps too.
Yeah.
It's just they will lower your GPA. And I have people who are very successful in UofT. It takes a lot, but I think if that is the case, that if you go through UofT and you're that successful and you can manage research and stuff, obviously you get priority when it comes to enrolling in schools.
Yeah.
But also I feel then also the rest of the students at UofT should also get a little bit of an advantage for going.
Right. Do you think that's how it's judged? Like if you were hiring or if you're trying to bring on students to apply for medical school and you saw student A U of T 3.8 GPA versus student B Queens 4.0, like does the name U of T lift a student up more?
I've been in a lot of conferences with like people in medical school, in dental school, and people from the actual institute, like also like not only students, and I like even there was an email, not email on their website. It says it like I think it doesn't matter what school you come from.
Yeah.
And there is a big reason behind that too, because you have to understand it from their. I don't know if they look. I don't know if they see it.
See what the school
Like
name?
whether like which university you're coming
Oh,
from.
really?
I don't think they see the student name.
Interesting.
I don't think they see.
I've heard like a lot of information is kind of blocked out.
I don't know what the university name, but they do say that they don't care what university you come from.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
It has its own benefits.
Right.
In some terms, but also bad. But I think they have to say that they don't care what university you come from because, after all, these are all institutes.
Yeah.
And these are all, in a way, also businesses, right? And if like a medical school comes out and says, "I will favor U of T students," then you see everyone from high school just going to U of T.
Right.
Um, which in a way we already see signs of that because, like for instance, with McMaster Health Science, a lot of people say that U of T's medical school accepts so many people from McMaster Health Science,
Mm.
and you see such an amount of like fight going on for McMaster Health Science.
Yeah.
Because like you get a better GPA when you're there. I believe like they said a lot of their courses are also like group projects and stuff.
Got it.
Not saying it's any easier, but I think there's a different format going on.
Right.
And once someone hears, "Oh, there you will get a better GPA," you'll be intrigued to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, I wish they were more like
Transparent. Right.
about it.
Yeah.
So at least like we would know what to do. Because I feel like sometimes I look at the people around me and they don't have like the best or like the most competitive GPA. But any day I would say that person would be a better doctor.
Right.
Than like somebody else.
Right.
With a better GPA. I have friends and I see that. I see like how much that person cares about how they take courses based on interest.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's just someone who's just like taking all the easy courses because they just need the grade and they're just doing what's right and what's like, according to what's important to those universities.
Yeah.
But I think there's more value into that person who is taking those things that they're really interested in.
I agree. And I am often described as delusionally optimistic. And I actually believe that that person who picks the courses based on interest would get in. Like that's what I do. Like a bunch of my friends are taking bird courses and just like the idea, yeah, I got to get my GPA up, but that doesn't, it seems kind of cheap. I feel like that's kind of like cheating the system in a way where you're trying to boost that number up, but I don't know if it's going to benefit you in the long run. If your approach to life is always just,
What do you consider the long run? Long run in what industry?
that's a good point.
Right?
You might not have a long run if you don't get into medical school if you're a doctor, right?
Your run ends.
Yeah, literally. That's a good point. Yeah.
There are people who, because of their GPA, they did undergrad again.
Wow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a lot to say it. Like people say, "Oh, just do undergrad again."
No, that's all.
Do
Yeah.
4 years of the same thing.
No,
one
yeah.
more time.
That's insane.
Forget about like all the amount of money and time going into it. The mental, like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about it and I'm like, if all this doesn't work out, what's my plan?
Right.
And I will be very hurt. Like I
Yeah.
already know it. It's like
No, I'm yeah.
wake up.
Yeah.
The committee breaks up, and you know what's more even like I was actually talking and the other day and I was saying this. I was like, what triggers me even more is that like I care so much. I'm putting in so much. I'm so close.
Yeah.
Yet I get rejected.
Right.
It's just like, and then you have my friends who are like, we will go to a master's, we will do this, we will do that, we will do MCAT, DAT again. And I'm like, I understand you can do all of that, but then you go to masters, you get into this path, and then you won't have the time to study for MCAT. Or some people just kind of give up.
Right.
And I find that so sad.
It is.
And with a country that every day on the news they're like, we have a lack of doctors. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Doctors.
Yeah.
The system needs
That's-
to fix itself.
I agree. That's that's a punch straight to the gut.
We
We don't have enough doctors, but you're not getting in. Sorry.
And then they get in those, like you said.
The guys that cheat the system, yeah.
Yeah, and then.
Go the easy way.
And trust me, a lot of those people, it's funny because when they look at who wants to become a doctor, I see it as a way of like in interviews, it's a way of them finding out what you bring to the table for us, like in return of what we are giving you in terms of resources and everything.
Yeah.
And I think what they bring to the table sounds very nice when said, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then once they get their degree and they go to US,
Yeah.
what did they bring to the table?
Right. It's true.
They're just gone.
It's really true. And you brought up the fact that, these schools, you can't just straight out say, yes, we're going to favor U of T. Yes, we're going to favor McMaster. Because these schools, once again, like you said, they're kind of like businesses. And I was talking to Danny, who's a guest. I guess I already filmed the video, but he's not going to be out. You're coming out first before him. So, sorry, Danny. But he was telling me how...
Spoiling.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Artemis is making you wait for your episode. But no, he was telling me like these schools at this point have like financial analysts. Like they have people looking over, crunching the numbers to such an insane degree where it's like profit has become the main goal of universities at this point. It's no longer education.
Listen, no wonder why we have so many influencers being like, don't go to university.
Yeah.
You don't need the degree. I understand that too.
Mm-hmm.
But not also everybody is interested in being a leader in this. I
Right.
think there are a lot of people who are not born a leader, and a lot of people who actually enjoy being a follower because
Mhm.
of like there's a
Just a personality
stay
difference.
safe in some way.
Yeah.
In that position, I would like to believe that I was born a leader. I truly like being a leader.
Yeah.
That's the key thing in it. And it's because, like, I see it. I do leadership stuff. I'm so much happier
Yeah.
compared to when I'm just, like, one of the I don't know. Like,
I mean, you've proven yourself. You're co-founder of a club.
that's,
You said you wanted to be a president when you were a kid. There's obviously signs of it.
Yeah. It's also the fact that when, like, maybe a year ago or something, I did a lot of tutoring for kids and students.
Yeah.
As my part-time job. And then like one day my dad came and he was discussing my wage with me. And it's so funny. He was like, Artemis, how many years have you been here? And I was like, 5,
Yeah.
6, I don't know, like around that.
I don't know dates.
Okay, so let's say the average person here starts from minimum wage when they come to Canada, right? And every single year, there is obviously some inflation, some things go on, and the minimum wage increases itself, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you have a level of experience that's also increasing over time. Don't you think you should be paid more?
Yep.
Oh my god. That was like, he stabbed me.
Yeah.
That day. And that actually like interested me in having my own business.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I'm done working for someone else.
Because you can't rely. That's the thing. Why are you relying on these people who, when you know, like you said, you're a leader, you know how capable you are as a
Yeah.
person. Maybe there's also a bit of ego involved. It's like, this person shouldn't be able to decide my worth.
It's that
You don't want to admit it's ego?
Topic of ego, no, I have ego, and I don't think ego is always a bad thing.
No, it's not.
There is when you overuse your ego and you have like that, like cockiness, I
Yeah.
guess. That's like
Yeah.
not attractive.
Right.
You're just full of yourself and like you're not showing it.
Yeah.
As long as you show it, I think it's okay for you to be confident with what you're doing. In fact, I think everybody should have an ego to some extent.
Absolutely.
But also that also drives you, right? There is people who you attract when you have an ego, and that like it brings up like your attractiveness. And I don't mean that only like in a love kind of like romantic way. I
Yeah.
mean that in a business way. I mean that in a professional way, right?
Absolutely.
When you have that confidence, it's just opportunity. But I believe in like energy in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that day I sat with myself and I was like, I'm doing this. I'm making the money for someone else. Why? And then they get some money, right? All the like the institutes that or tutoring centers, they're like they make money from the student, and they pay so little portion of it to the teacher.
Yeah.
And you have those teachers who like those tutors who also work independently, but it's also very hard. I think that's where the leader in you comes out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a tutor independently, finding that customer, the marketing skills, and I don't mean it like social media and stuff, but also convincing the parent
Yeah.
that you should invest your money in me.
Yeah.
Right, to be your child, for me to be your child student. I think that's when you will find out if that's like if you're a leader,
Yeah.
and if you can do this on your own, or you need someone to constantly find you a customer and all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I realized through the whole path of like having my own thing, is that I went out there, I first tried it independently, and once I was like, oh, here comes my first customer. And trust me, there were customers I lost.
Yeah.
But I think there is an art in how you get people to trust you in one phone call. It's very hard. You're not seeing that person. There is nothing of your face impressions. It's just your voice and what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you can't like practice for that.
Right.
You know, it's just like you never know what, like, yes, there's the basic questions they're gonna ask, but somebody just like says, I have this one daughter, she's in grade this, and like a lot of the times, actually, I encourage people who like reach out to me to have a phone call with me. I can express myself much better at least on voice than text.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get them on a phone call, and I really have 5 minutes to explain why I will be a better fit compared to anybody else on this market.
Yeah.
And it's a big market. You'll have those who take their kids to tutoring centers, and there's so many. Already competition in that area is like so high.
Yeah.
Then you have all of those teachers who are independently working, and they're promoting their work on Facebook, Instagram, and Kijiji, anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
And you have that one chance. So I guess it's a error, also trial and error thing. You get to understand how to approach people, and it's funny how there's so much courses and stuff where they talk about how to market yourself, how to do this, how to do that, but when it comes to actually getting that customer sign with you, nobody's teaching you how to do that.
Yeah.
There's no course on how to talk and like make people convince people to do something.
That's right.
And
It's a huge skill set that it takes to be a leader.
yeah,
Working for yourself, that's maybe why people fall into these like follower positions, right? Where like you said, the tutor, like the head company, the top guys of the company are making the money from the students and then paying a small portion to the teachers, because they know that a lot of the tutors aren't going to have the same spirit as you and say, I'm going to figure this out on my own, because it's a lot.
it's a lot to handle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, and
Right.
right? They don't have that like luxury of life to like go out there, look, learn all of this,
Yep.
have the courage, be inspired enough,
And the
go
stress
back to
tolerance too.
school, and then do this.
Yeah.
So it takes passion. That's where like I think if you're passionate about something,
Yep.
it comes like it shows itself because you have to push through, and if you don't have passion, you're not going to push through.
It's true.
So yeah, that happened, and and it's funny because those companies, even when you're in it or outside of it, they don't really tell you how much they're making off of you.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Why would they do that?
Nobody talks about any of these stuff. It was so fascinating for me
Yeah.
that I had my dad come, who has no experience in this field,
Yeah.
and was like,
Say a couple words.
yeah, a couple of words, and I'm like, I know what they're doing.
Yep.
And that kind of influenced me. I was like, okay, I'm getting a few students. Why don't I hire my own people?
Yep.
And I was like, there's so many students with me looking for a job. And
Yeah.
why are we working the minimum wage job
Yeah.
when we have so much knowledge? Every single year that we spend in undergrad, we are basically very good at teaching what we have learned.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes with skills teaching, obviously.
Of course.
You should also like it. But there's a lot of people who like to teach what they have learned or even like share their knowledge in some term. And I was like, I will bring in my friends. I will bring in like whoever wants it.
Yep.
And that's how it became like a passive income thing for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it for the money.
Yep.
Right? So
What are you doing it for?
whatever I make off of it, first of all, I'm not taking away so much from my tutors. I take so little amount, but I can take more. But my idea was to bring affordable tutoring for kids.
Yep.
Because you will be amazed by how many parents really their child needs a tutor.
Yep.
Just because there's not enough attention paid to that child in school,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't afford it. And so my whole idea was to bring that like tutor, affordable tutor, provide also the opportunity for students to have a job, right? And whatever I make on it, there's a lot of times I just go like buy clothes and stuff, and I put it in donation boxes.
Oh wow.
And things like that.
That's
And
awesome.
I like giving back because I feel like it, as hard as it is,
Yeah.
I would say, like sometimes you think about, I'm like, this is all my hard work money.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want it to go. It's a little amount, but like me being able to kind of condition myself to give away, it kind of influences me that later on in my life, when I have more money, to also be able to give away.
Yep.
I don't want to ever end up being greedy.
No.
Or like a workaholic who's like,
Yeah.
I really need to give away because I feel like it brings a level of sanity and calmness to me
Yeah.
that I need to force myself to have it also.
Absolutely. And this is an awesome story, by the way. It's really cool to hear you talk about this. Do you still run the business, the tutoring? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. But no, because once again, I have the same dream, right, as you do. I'd love to be a leader. You know, I get my practice here and there, and same realizations. Like once again, come back to that ego conversation. It's like, I just don't think that, like, I believe I'm smart enough to do it on my own. Maybe that, and there's a balance. I'll bring up that Patrick Bet-David book. I read his book recently, and he talked about the balance between being selfish and selfless. So if you're 100% selfish and 0% selfless, that's terrible. That's psychopath, criminal, danger to society, right? 90% selfish and 10% selfless, that's a guy that thinks the world revolves around him. Still too much ego. 80-20, that's like a solo entrepreneur. Like, they can do it themselves. They can't really teach it though. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not the best tutor. So they can work it themselves, but that's about as high as they can go. 70-30 is where the best leaders lie, according to Patrick Bet-David. He calls them kingmakers. So you can, once again, 70 on your own, 30% selfless, still caring about other people. 60-40 is also a good balance. But once you all the way get to the bottom, he says there's no such thing as zero selfish. That doesn't exist. That's like unicorns. They're not real.
Yeah.
I just don't believe anyone that says that.
Self-respect makes you selfish.
Absolutely.
So you should definitely be selfish to some extent.
Exactly. And like, if you're completely selfless, that's someone who's like not going to take care of themselves, bad hygiene, out of shape, like just a mess, right?
Yeah.
Not going to be bringing jobs to society, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, no, that's super cool.
What
So,
do you want to be a leader in?
well, what do you mean?
Like you said, you want
In business.
Have you ever thought about what?
Exactly what industry?
It's funny how I'm.
Now you're asking me. Yeah, the goal, well, once I graduate, I want to go into AI, learn about AI.
AI.
Yeah, artificial intelligence.
I'm aware.
Just in case you didn't know.
No, good with words.
Yeah.
What in AI? How specific can you go about your goal?
You can get as specific as you want. You got to niche down. You know niche down?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so
I know it's in.
your business. You know business more than me. You have more experience.
Yeah, okay, so AI, what about AI? What do you want to do with AI?
Well, that's a good question. Now I haven't gotten that far. So
You haven't.
the plan isn't set out yet. I haven't started. I'm saying once I graduate. But I know that's the
You're
main
not
thing.
saying your plans.
Maybe I want to keep it to myself.
Keeping you low key.
Maybe I don't want to, advertise it to the world yet.
You need some patent.
That's what it is. That's what it is. No, but for you, is it still like you still want to go to dental school?
Yes.
So then where does the mix come in? Do you want to start your own like dentistry dental office, sorry. Yeah.
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 I do want that.
That's cool. If it's any consolation, my dentist graduated from UofT. So maybe that's like an omen, a good sign for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends in UofT dentistry. At first, I thought I want to go into maxillofacial surgery. I really wanted to do surgery, and I think this is a very common thing. You watch Grey's Anatomy,
Right.
and you're like, Adam, you're a medical student.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I saw plastic surgery, the scenes in Grey's Anatomy, I was like, I like plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And I think the main idea behind it was the fact that I saw like how the patients were so happy
When you say you like plastic surgery, you mean doing it or getting it?
doing it.
Okay.
Both.
Both. Yeah, no.
I think you should like doing and getting, I mean,
Okay. Maybe.
to some extent, I think if that's your profession, shouldn't you also like it?
That's a good question. I don't know if,
We should have a conference with some plastic surgeons.
yeah, ask them what they think.
Confirm that.
I mean, if you just think, because you're making me think of what I do. So like for this podcast, I always talk about don't watch TikTok. TikTok's terrible for you. It's destroying your brain. And I post TikToks. So that's like the plastic surgeon who says, I don't recommend getting plastic surgery and then goes and does it to people.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense.
It's kind of, yeah, I guess it's kind of a moral issue.
It's not a moral issue.
You don't think so?
It has to do with how there is a limit to everything. And
Explain.
everything, too much of it is bad.
Right.
Too much of anything is bad.
So then if you're a liquor dealer, if you sell alcohol and one of your customers is an alcoholic, does that make you a bad person? Not too sure about that one.
We'll leave that for another
Yeah.
episode.
Part 2. We'll answer that on the next
Let
one.
me go think about it. No,
Yeah.
So, how did that come?
Gee, this is what a podcast is. This is what a podcast is. We just bring up random stuff, ask hard-hitting questions.
So that's the thing. When you sell liquor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't always go and aim for the people who are addicted, right?
Right.
You just sell to everyone.
Yep.
And then let's say some of those people become addicted. So there goes your limit.
So
How
that's-
about you not sell to those anymore? But this is the difference where like the moral comes into business.
Right.
Then it just depends on you.
Yeah,
as a business person.
I agree.
And it depends on your greed.
That's what it is. It's
Yeah,
greed.
because sometimes you're like, I just don't care about anybody anymore because I just care about the money that comes in.
Yeah, it's messed up. I think that's why, at least for me, a guiding principle, I've made the statement. So like when I turned 20, I set like a certain goal. Like once I turn 20, I want to be at this place when I'm 30. So I made a video, talked like blah blah blah. These are my commitments for the next 10 years, just like big picture. No. Just for me. Just for me. So I can watch it back in 10. I'll put it up in 10 years. How about that? So I was
To see what it is.
in a decade. In a decade, I got you. But one of my commitments was I want to donate every single year 10% of what I earn. Charity. Boom. Because
I will ask you a question.
I think that keeps you in check.
For a tax write-off?
No. So that's okay. That's also a good point. That's also a good point. And I talked about this with my brother on his episode. How do you donate as a rich person without it already coming off as greedy? Because you're saying you don't want to look greedy as in having money and not donating. But the rich people, even when they donate, people are like, he's just doing that for a write-off.
But the thing is that they get a receipt, right?
Yeah.
Where they can announce to government, I donated this much. How about you don't brag about what you donated and you just donate?
So you can, okay, I see. So you
Or
can,
announce it and get because the government is not going to come and be like, here's my
we need to give you,
tax
that's
because you,
right.
you know?
Yes.
So you go tell the government that I did this, right? Otherwise, the government is not going to be
Got it.
you know?
So then no, not as a write-off. No,
We'll see.
we'll see.
I will come after you.
Yeah.
I will sue you for the sentence if you don't.
I'm making a live statement right now. I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. Like you gave me an explanation just now.
Yeah.
But then also how much like you could get into a country where the taxes itself are crazy. That's the only way you make it back. Like how much do rich people pay in tax?
How much do we?
I mean, some people will say a lot. Some people will say a lot. Some people will say nothing at all. Obviously, it depends on your income.
Well, it depends on how you're doing it.
Right.
Some people are just filing their taxes and, being like normal human beings, paying their
Right.
tax on what they make, and some people are not. We all know there are people who don't go by laws.
So then here's another question. What do you think, like if the rules are set up in a certain way and the system is what the system is and someone finds a way, someone finds like a loophole to play the system, like they, whatever, write off a donation to charity, is that a problem with the person or is that a problem with the system itself? I would blame that on the tax code. I wouldn't blame the person.
On the system,
Yeah.
because there shouldn't be a loophole. But the thing is that those people are usually in the system.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So the system is not going to get fixed.
Yeah. You're right.
I think in a way that encourages more people to do that.
Yeah. Smart. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get exposed in 10 years and everyone's going to think I'm a greedy bastard.
Imagine they're going to share your tax receipt.
I know, right?
It's not going to go to
Yeah.
your tax.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Circling back. No, I was talking about TikTok. I make that stuff. How do you feel about social media nowadays?
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Has it helped the NJT? Has it helped the charity?
Yes, it has.
Okay. So there's a good part of it.
Obviously, there's always that awareness part of social media, being able to know about what's going on around the world.
Right.
But then again, we also learned it in all of our courses in one way or another about the bias of it and
Yeah.
how it can also throw everyone off or divide people in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what it's doing best is that.
Mhm.
In fact. I said something about the limit.
Yeah.
How everything has a limit. And I think how everybody's like, they have ADHD, things like that. I think that comes down to the limit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a right time, right age. There are a lot of students that I have had, and I do see the concern with social media because I can see it in their focus,
Mhm.
right? You sit with a child and they're not patient. Nothing interests them. It's funny, those who are more privileged get to be less interested by things like stickers, cars, little gifts.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
It no longer works.
yeah,
And they rather cry for their phone and screen time
yeah,
than their sticker and toys,
yeah.
which is scary
It's sad.
and sad. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really sad.
absolutely.
And what's even worse than that is the uneducated parents.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. I think that our generation hopefully will be better in the sense that like we can see what the effects have been for these parents that are giving their 3-year-olds iPads, right? So like at least for me, like I know that my kid, I didn't get a phone until I was 15.
When I was in Cyprus, I had a phone,
Okay.
but it was to contact my parents
Yeah.
to pick me up from school.
Yeah.
I wasn't on social media.
No.
I wasn't on anything. I think I had access to Google and dictionary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's good.
and I was. It's funny because even back then, even in Iran, I had like I was really young in Iran, and then I had like my friends who had phones, or they would be like, "Oh, look at me, I got a phone."
Yeah.
And trust me, I was a kid. I wanted a phone too.
Of course.
And I had this conversation with my parents, and I was so little. I was like, I want a phone. Why don't I have a phone?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, you will get a phone once you understand how to use a phone correctly.
Mm.
And I thought, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I know how to work with a phone.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I understand what he was talking about. And the whole like Instagram and stuff, my parents weren't like they didn't tell me download this, don't download this, I'm not gonna let you have this.
Yeah.
They weren't like that. I do think that it did affect my attention span without me even noticing and realizing.
Yeah.
But as a person who likes people and I just like talking to people, I think even when there is Instagram, TikTok, all of these things, you see me on a FaceTime with
Yeah.
my friends.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that.
True.
It's the human connection, and I think that's why I got less of the effect on me.
That's good.
So it comes down to the limit, right? But the whole idea of sitting your kid as a child, you know those kids who, I don't know if you, well, I mean, you're not with family here, are you? Because we have these family gatherings, right? And there's always that one little child.
Right.
And the more I go to these family gatherings, I see like a whole group of kids sitting on couch, everybody with an iPad, nobody's talking to no one, like
Yeah.
it's all so disconnected. I don't think they even know each other's names,
Yeah.
even though we have met a bunch of times.
That's messed up.
And all they do is just play game all night until the dinner or lunch is served.
It's so sad.
That's about it.
It's so sad.
No
And
dancing,
yeah.
no running around, no
Yeah.
hide and seek,
yeah.
and Roblox.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Or like
Yeah.
YouTube Reels.
Yeah.
And the Reels, it's one of the worst things.
Yeah.
That it's everywhere now. They're like, oh no, my child is not on TikTok. I'm like, it's not any better on YouTube
Same
now.
thing.
It's the
Same thing. I can tell you
Same
firsthand. I
concept.
post on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok the same videos.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's funny. The parents think it's the content that's the problem,
Right. Oh, that's a good point.
right? And most parents think,
I didn't think about
I
that.
don't want my child to be exposed to like the half-naked
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
men or things like that. But we have bigger problems.
It's not. Oh my goodness, I didn't think of that. Because the parents, I guess so. Because I was about to start going off on these parents saying they're all lazy, but it's probably just a misunderstanding now that you put it that way. They think that if the kids are at least, safe, like there is YouTube Kids. That's a thing. The app YouTube Kids. So it's like, I know that my
Cocomelon.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest channels on YouTube. So they think that if we keep the content safe, they're not seeing anything 18 plus, they're not seeing swear words. YouTube Kids. It's not the point. It's not about the content. That's obviously part of it. And obviously if your kid was seeing some of the crazy stuff that's on the internet, that wouldn't be good. But the main thing is the attention span. It's the not knowing your friends' names.
Listen, like the way they scroll,
Yeah.
like a baby who can barely talk.
Yeah.
Scares me.
It's scary. Yeah.
My mom this kid like
Yeah.
start the same bubble and know
Yeah.
how to scroll.
100%.
It's devastating. That's what we are laughing about it, but it's just like I
Absolutely.
think this is my defense mechanism to how scared I am right now about this, because
It's good to talk about it.
you have the parents who also are very strict, and it's funny how those parents become victims, right?
Hmm.
And because their child comes and is like, my friend has a phone, you're not giving me a phone, you're a bad parent, you're this, you're that.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where kids talk back to parents.
Yep.
Which
In Canada. Yeah.
I
In
think-
Iran, do they do that?
I think it has gotten a little bit out of hand there too.
Oh, okay.
I think it's everywhere in the world.
Wow.
Because now you're seeing these because it comes, you know how they make these TikToks and stuff of pranking parents and stuff, and sometimes you think maybe you find it funny, maybe not.
Yeah.
And it's just but it's inappropriate in a way too. If that was you will never see your mom pranking your grandpa like that.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
So there's some inappropriateness to it, or some level of respect. I can't say respect.
I agree. No,
It's
I agree.
authority that is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Or enough I don't know.
So then where does the blame go? Do you think it's the parents' fault? Do you think it's just the age we're in?
No, we are victims of this society.
Got it.
Parents, children, everyone. It's out of parents' control. I mean, to some extent it is, but I know you're gonna become the bad parent if you do that.
So then, right. Yeah, no, I hear you. So then if you had a kid, what would your rules be? How old would they have a phone? YouTube kids or no YouTube kids? What are you saying? No YouTube kids. Yeah.
Quality time.
Yep.
I would want to be there. I think a big part of why I want to have a business is to have that. I think the power that it gives me is not through the money of it, it's more through the time of it.
Right.
Right? Being able to manage my own time
Mm-hmm.
will allow me to provide in a better way as a mother for my kid, right?
Yeah.
I will be there. I will play with them, whatever it is, right? And I know there will be an age where they're gonna come and they'll be like, this person has this. I want that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You have to.
No, until I'm gonna become the bad parent. But here's the thing.
It's not the bad parent though. Yeah, the bad parent.
I'm gonna tell my child, you're not gonna like me
Yeah.
with the answer I give or how bad I will be.
Yeah.
But you will understand me one day.
Yep.
And I know that. And you can say all kinds of hurtful stuff to me.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
Yeah, that's true. And it also depends on the type of kid you have. So me as a child, I never was very rebellious. I took my parents' word for what it was. But I don't think you have to have the kid dislike you. At least if you have a non-rebellious kid, sometimes there's just a balance of I'm not giving you a phone because I love you so much. That's what it is.
They
You
don't understand that.
you sure?
Not everybody understands that.
You can make them understand.
No, they will be like, have you seen our generation? They will be like, if you love me, then give me the phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I could swindle the kid a little better than that.
Yeah,
Nah.
5 minutes.
Wait for
Next day,
till they freak out again.
you will
Yeah,
see the phone again.
they see their friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it comes down to that too as well. I think the best thing you can do to your child is to actually lead them or in a way teach them
yeah.
how to find good friends.
That's also true.
Because that changes the game.
I mean, you have to also, once again, there's responsibility on both sides. Obviously a toddler doesn't have any responsibility, but I mean, once you get to, high school, especially, even before that, I think that as young as 10 years old, 11 years old, a kid has a certain responsibility for choosing who he spends time with. And you teach that to the kid as a parent. But as a parent, because that's our next roles, right? We're past the kid stage. I think that you need to find friends, other parents who share the same values as you, so that you can have like the big clan. Their kids are friends with your kids, and that way they're not poisoning each other's minds. You know what I mean? That's hard, but you can do it.
What do you know about that kid? You know the parent of the kid.
I mean, same
You
thing.
don't know. No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think that that's where we're in a disagreement right now. I think that a parent and its
The
kid,
parents hope that the kid is good.
more times than not.
I can
You know what
see
I'm
that.
saying?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Like if you come from a good family and stuff like that,
Yeah.
there's certain rules, but certain things. But have you also seen how sometimes that ruins things? Because here, I'm gonna give you an example. Like imagine you're from a very well-off family.
Yeah.
You're like, let's say, very educated, like parents. You have a kid, and then you have family friends, educated parents, well off, but they decided to spoil their kid.
Hmm.
They're still good parents.
I disagree. See, I'm saying values. This is not. I'm not saying like.
But that's the thing.
I'm not trying to talk about like socioeconomic similarity. Like I don't need them to be as educated. I'm talking about values.
Let me know how you find those.
I'll let you know. I think you can do it. And I think that traditionally the main way to do that was through religion. And nowadays, like I'm not particularly religious, but I think it's very important. Like this is like the whole conversation. We can bring it back to greed. I would be I would be more worried in failing through the eyes of God than failing through the eyes of my business. This is why I'm not going to go out scamming people like you were talking about. You know what I mean? Because obviously, as a business person, you know it better than I do. You need to make money. Your employees need to be well paid. All this sort of stuff you got to deal with. Customers are complaining. I think I'm sure you know about that. The first priority, though, beyond business, has to be to God and to morality, and more importantly.
I think the whole idea of to God and stuff. I'm happy that people have that one thing that makes them kind of it keeps them up with their morals.
Yep.
It could be God. You can put it like subconsciousness or
Yep.
anything like that. As long as it works, it works.
Yeah.
And I do agree. I have another question. I'm still stuck on the kid thing.
Let's keep talking about it.
My question is that you're gonna have the kid
Yeah.
or your child when they're or basically a child. You're gonna introduce them to this.
Yeah.
Like, this is the neighbor.
Yeah.
You're from your family. You can be friends.
Yeah.
How are you gonna teach them to find similar friends later on in life, in high school, in university, maybe when you're not around?
Mm-hmm. Good question.
Are you gonna go find kids there?
No, obviously not. And I think that the focus can't be on the other kids. The focus has to be on your kid. And I wouldn't stress so much. Like my mom always told me, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, because I hung out with a group of 4 guys who, like in elementary school, my graduating class in grade 8, like, you graduate from elementary school, they do a little thing. It was 5 people. I was in such a small school. It was 5 of us, me and 4 other guys. Right. So those were my friends, it's just so small. Who else are you going to hang out with? But they were like, when they were younger, like high school age, they were kind of experimenting with the weed and vapes and all that stuff.
Oh.
I was never doing that. And my mom would always tell me, like, you're the sum of the 5 people, you spend the most time with, blah, 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 blah. And it's true. I didn't get into any of that. And eventually, still good friends with them. They're great people. I wouldn't be hanging out with them if they were bad people. But I think I understand now that to really, I guess, become the best version of yourself, if you want to put it in those corny terms, is, I don't enjoy spending time with people that aren't on the same mission as me. I don't enjoy spending time with people who completely, like, they don't have the same standards. Like, they would give their kid an iPad. I don't think I could sit here and like want to hang out with a person who's like, no, my kid's getting an iPad at 3 years old. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
So if I tell my kid, no, you don't get an iPad. This is what's important. Family time's important. Don't be scrolling on YouTube, kids. If they can at least get it from themselves and be like, yeah, I understand, as I did, I didn't smoke. I was like, nah, I'm cool. I don't want to. Then eventually you're going to find out you need to be around the right people.
Yeah, that was for me too. Like, the high school I went to, like, they would smoke weed in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I never smoked. And there was something about like not smoking, not doing any kind of bad thing.
Yeah.
I like that about myself because at some point it became the unique thing about me.
Yeah.
Because everybody was smoking, so
Yeah.
I'm that one kid who hasn't vaped and done it, and then everybody, wow, you haven't vaped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it became a flex.
There you go.
Which is very weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Now that I like put it into words and I'm fascinated by how in a way screwed we are at the same time.
Yeah.
That was a flex.
Yeah.
How times has changed. So the thing is that I don't always blame the parents either.
No.
For that.
You're a lot nicer than me. You're a lot nicer than me.
3-year-old kid who
Yeah.
has an iPad at times or things like that, I don't, because I think a lot of also kindergartens and stuff have introduced technology
Into the classroom.
into the classroom. Then the other thing is that you can't blame the parents because they are victims themselves of this. Do you have parents now, young parents, who really either they're so tired when they come from work
Mm-hmm.
that they are like, just don't cry, just get the iPad, just get out of my face.
Good point.
Right?
Yep.
And then you also have like it comes down to that, right? So I can't always blame the parents.
So, yeah.
I feel like sometimes I literally blame the society.
That's fair. And I hear where you're coming from because I'm coming from an individual perspective. You're trying to fix the world, is what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Is like,
Like I can like I see how you can individually. I think you're in a privileged place to talk like that.
right.
And say that I'm not gonna let my kid have like the iPad, and I'm gonna make sure he hangs out with people on the same like beliefs
Right.
and stuff. And you're thinking you as a business person
Yeah.
will be there for the family time.
Correct.
The fact that you think you're gonna have the time to tell your child what's important and what's not shows that you will have time to give to your kid.
So then, once again, I'll push back. You're drawing that up to privilege, which I understand. But I think at our age, especially, if we're talking about older families, you can convince me to be more compassionate. You probably have me on that because I'm trying to say it's all the parents' fault. But yes, fair. You've convinced me. But I mean, our age, I don't think that people should think about privilege. I think that you have so much time.
What do you consider privilege? How do you define privilege?
I think there's two main privileges in the world. Number one is your parents and your upbringing, because you can't choose that. These are the people that are teaching you how to live life. So I always talk about the number one privilege in life being good parents, which is, I think, is true. And then that's probably the main thing. I think that like you can maybe talk about an intellectual privilege, but I'm sure you don't need to be intelligent. Like you don't need to be born intelligent to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say you have to be born smart, because that's not true. I think that good parents is the number one privilege, but
Do you think wealth brings privilege?
what kind of privilege? Like to who? To the whoever has the wealth?
Who has it?
I was you talking about the kids or the person. Of course. Of course it brings privilege, but that's earned privilege. Privilege, I feel like privilege is something that isn't earned. You don't earn the parents you have. You're given the parents you have.
Get the wealth, right? Like passed down to them.
Right. I don't think of it in that sense.
Yeah.
I think people can earn their way into the life they want. So my idea,
That's a very good.
but it's very individualistic. If I had to go out there and say this to everyone, this is how we're going to change the world, everyone just be self-accountable, that's not very effective. Because the society is what moves the norm, right? It's not individual mindsets, I don't think.
And they control our individual mindsets.
The society. Yeah.
Um,
They I sorry to cut you off. I think it controls the individual mindsets of the majority. I think I don't know if it controls everyone's.
it's majority.
You can step out of that majority and say, no, I am determined. I see where the world's going. I don't want my kid to be a YouTube Shorts scroller. I need to make it to this achievement level. Do you disagree, or what do you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think when I say privilege, I mean the privilege of getting yourself to a point in your life where you can have that time,
Mm-hmm.
where you can have that money, where you can be stress free and mentally free enough
Yes.
to give to your child.
Yes. So,
And I
yeah,
think it's a lot of things that goes hand to hand to have privilege.
fair. So do you think there's like a degree of luck involved?
I don't think it's luck.
You don't think it's luck?
I don't think people can say, "Oh, this guy was lucky."
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
I think there is hard work and a lot of those things backing people up. And those who say, "Oh, but this person just got all the wealth passed down to them. They're lucky." I would say that you don't know them personally.
Right. So then I'm confused. I'm confused what you're talking about when you say it has to be from privilege. You know what I mean? Like, if everyone can make their own privilege, then what's the excuse for the people that don't have it?
The thing is that not everyone can make it, though.
You don't think everyone can make
I
it?
would like to think, I think that everybody can have it all, but not everybody. People define privilege in different ways,
Right.
right?
As we just
Or
did,
like,
the two of
yeah,
us.
or like what makes them satisfied in this life.
Yeah.
It's very different. Some people just are okay in a decent house, and a decent car and a decent job. But some people are like, no, if I don't have like a palace, I'm not gonna be happy like with what I'm doing. Or if I don't make this much a year,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy. So it depends, because some people say, I just want like a normal job, a normal thing, so that I can mentally be calm and not worry about anything. But then at the same time, you have that business person who says, if I don't have a like, if I don't own something,
Yeah.
and I'm working for someone, then I'm not mentally free.
Right.
You see?
It's a good
So,
point.
like, different people, it comes down to character.
Yeah. It's true.
So that's what's interesting. But when we were talking about how society is like impacting all of us, the new trend of go do it on your own, you got this on your own, the whole like you can do everything on your own, focus on yourself. I think as much as it's a good thing in a way to be self-aware, to work on yourself, it's also helping this society divide in a way.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society where technology is basically giving us everything. You want food, you can Uber Eats it. You can order the vegetables and cook it at home, right? You wanna sleep with someone, you can call,
Yeah.
right? And it could be a one-night thing.
Yeah.
And with so many things, it's like that.
Yeah.
You want to play video games, just buy this game and you can play with someone who you don't know over a call. And what you end up seeing is that it's like they're making people stay at home
Yeah.
and just be in one location,
Yeah.
right? Do work, have your fun in those little things, but do everything alone.
Yeah, it's not good. I think that anyone who actually takes the message of work on yourself seriously knows that at some point, like, you need relationships. That is like one of the most vital human. If you're trying to reproduce, if you even want to have a family, you need to have relationships.
But that's the thing. But we are
it's falling apart.
Focus
Yeah.
into like self things
Yep.
that we are like missing out on human connections, and we don't end up learning
Yep.
how to communicate. That's why we have a higher divorce rate. That's why we have a generation where people are in situationships.
Yeah, what the hell is that? I don't even know what that is. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Just.
It just means that two people, they don't know whether they like each other. Basically, they do know they like each other, but they don't know how to commit to each other in a way, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's insane.
Or-
That's just that's
It's
insane.
like people can't make up their mind. And I think the big reason behind that is because they don't know how to do that.
Mhm.
They don't know, because at the end of the day, how this is going to show itself, I think, is that family is not going to be a thing. Because they would take away the need for that connection.
Right.
Because you can do everything, you can have everything alone. Why would, and if you think about it from very, like, people on the top, whether they are doing this, you can think about it with the idea that, okay, so they want workers. They want people to spend majority of their time, not even move, right? Stay home, but just do work. We'll provide everything to you. Just stay, do work, and then we'll provide the little things. And when you're working, somebody else is making money.
Full circle. Artemis, you're making a ton of sense right now. I think about this. I think about this all the time. I'm so happy you're bringing it up because a lot of people don't talk about it. Especially, I don't hear a lot of girls talking about it. Like it's just this is a thing that very few people I know are even considering and thinking about. And you clearly have it. You know what it's about. You know if it's figured out. Let me just make sure we're good on battery. We're not. We're not good on battery, but I could probably. Yeah, we'll have to cut it off. That's the camera that just died. As I was saying that. Okay, let me set up the phone camera real quick so we'll sign out and we'll do a last
Last bye-bye.
yeah, just the last little bit. But that was a good absolutely. All right, is your switch on? So
I think you're gonna block me after this.
no, you're good. You're good. We might have just figured out that Artemis's microphone was off for that whole thing.
Whole juice.
But
juicy.
maybe we'll get the camera audio back. No idea. Camera's died out. That's okay. You know, shit happens.
Listen, if not, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Maybe it was the
Maybe it's
people.
just Artemis.
Maybe it was the people that, were trying to keep us in our houses. They're like, no, we can't. She can't talk about it.
You can't.
We don't want it. That's what it was. Yeah. They just no. We can't have people knowing
okay,
about
everyone, we're not gonna talk about
the pod lifestyle. Yeah, where nobody talks to each other.
Hey, you got to know it. That's enough. I mean you kind of knew it.
To be fair, I already knew it.
Yeah.
We need these people to know, because I think about it all the time. You obviously know what's up. They don't know anything.
Don't say that.
I'm obviously joking. They just they need to understand
They
you.
need to know this extra.
Yeah,
stuff.
the juice.
I was gonna say, but
Yeah.
I thought it would be very weird.
Nah, that's good. But okay, so we'll close it out.
Yes.
We haven't talked a lot about about NJT, not just tourists.
Yes.
So you obviously told us a little bit about what it is,
Yes.
but what are some of the projects and like stuff you guys have done? I saw you helped out in the Turkey earthquakes.
Yes.
That was cool.
We did. It was actually us working with one of the major hospitals in Toronto, as well as the NJT Toronto.
Nice.
Which is the main, like, basically NJT.
Yeah.
And they basically organized it. And we had actually our executive team go and help. Shout out to Ali and Isabella. They're wonderful people.
Nice.
They helped out, and I believe they sent. So this was different. This is not a suitcase being sent. The level that they packed for was a whole container, like that would go with the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a very big donation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it happened. And ever since, I have my executive team being like, do we have another one? There's a lot of stuff happening, all around the world. Are we doing anything? It's not up to me.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
Yeah.
We also need people to accept these donations. So that's what makes it difficult, I think, to have that one organization that is willing to take all of these. So hopefully we will be able to help more and more people. I guess the clinics itself, it has huge impact.
Yeah.
Trust me, things that would go to waste here are now being used somewhere else. Yeah. I think that itself, it helps a lot. But I'm happy that it's there. I just wish more and more people knew about it. Because a lot of people travel, and this is something that I say on all the podcasts and everywhere, and is that UofT has a huge society of international students, and this is the perfect thing, because most of them go back during Christmas break, summer break. They can take a suitcase home.
Yeah.
Not home, but
no, I know
home country.
Yeah.
To and I think there's a clinic anywhere that it's doesn't have the privilege of having everything that they need, all the resources basically. So they can help out, and that's what I told NJT when I wanted the club. I was like, you should give me the cup, because they said no to me when I said let me have a chapter. They were like, you're a university student. You will be there for 4 years, and then after you graduate, all of this hard work is gonna go to end. What's gonna happen? I was like, I will leave it to someone.
Yeah.
Right. And
negotiated, like a good business leader does.
Back then, it wasn't. I was like, listen, I was a volunteer with you. We have a past.
Yeah.
And
we have history.
I think I convinced them by telling them what I will bring to the table.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just making things up. There's a lot more people that know about Not Just Tourists now than before, because I receive a lot more calls of people who want to donate, and I tell them, okay, you can contact the Not Just Tourists that's closest to you, right, or things like that, and make it work one way or another. So this organization itself, I think, survives upon awareness. People being aware of it existing. Yeah. Otherwise, with an organization that doesn't have the funding to market itself, I would say, or advertise itself, that would be a better way of putting it. This is what it comes down to, right? Us volunteering and showing up and making everyone know about it. That's awesome. Why I go on all these podcasts.
I respect it.
I don't care if you're here in Toronto or all over the world, right? If you know about it, maybe somewhere in your lifetime you see someone from Toronto, or you're oh, you have stuff to donate, you can go donate it here. Or you come to Toronto, you want to take a suitcase back.
Yeah.
But if you don't know about it, how are you going to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where can people follow the Instagram account? Obviously on Instagram. Where can people follow Not Just Tourists? Not Just Tourists
UofT on Instagram. There's a lot of Not Just Tourists Instagram accounts for different chapters, but ours has the UofT.
Awesome.
Follow us. If you have any questions, I'm personally there.
Nice.
I will answer, or one of my social executives will answer.
Yeah.
And we are actually right now working on having an event on UofT somewhere in the winter semester, where we will also bring high school students, invite them to come.
Nice.
And as well as undergrad. We will have guest speakers. But our main idea is to let people know they can volunteer. There's so much you can do. You can volunteer, go there, pack it, learn, get to know people, have some free snacks. But also, you can take a suitcase, you can bring a suitcase, you can bring the medical equipment.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do. So if you want to, how it reminds me of those TikToks. If he wanted to, he would. This is that case of if they wanted to, they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really good. Well, you heard it there. Go follow them. Go join the club. It's a great cause. It's a real charity. It's a real not-for-profit.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it sounds like you guys are doing awesome work. So I respect that a
You
lot.
should come volunteer.
Should I? Move some suitcases.
Well, you can pack them.
Fun? Is it fun?
It is. You get to see all kinds of syringes, bandages, drugs.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, that sounds like a blast. Maybe I'll have to check it out. Absolutely.
Of course.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me and maybe Artemis. We'll see if you guys can hear it. And follow the Instagram at Voices of Vic. Subscribe to the channel. Like the interview. 40 episodes. Thank you very much for coming on.
Of course.
And that is Voices of Vic, VoV podcast, promoting diversity of thought. That's our new slogan. By the way, we changed it.
What was it before?
It was interviewing the most interesting and impressive college personalities. But we changed it because that was boring. Now we're doing promoting diversity of thought. We like having people that think in every way. I don't want to just talk to people that agree with me. I want to talk to people that disagree with me. We've disagreed and agreed a lot this podcast.
Who knows if they heard? Maybe they only heard your part.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, that's. Oh, you're gonna miss her argument. I will try my best to boost the camera audio.
Listen, we can have it again.
Yeah.
In fact, I will go think about it.
We'll do a part 2.
Come with strong facts and research.
Yeah. Come with
back it up.
full page, 10-page document. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Bye, everyone.
Peace out.